Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time around, I am doing yet another vlog. For those of you who have followed my channel for a while, and for those of you who are just joining in, vlogs are videos where I mainly focus on three things, or possibly four. I focus on a bit of a channel update, letting you know what's going on my channel in terms of upcoming content, and then I talk about some movie trailers and some upcoming releases on Blu-ray and 4K, and then I tend to normally do an update, so to speak, showcasing new titles that I've added to my collection since the last vlog. Now, I'm going to switch things up a little bit in terms of the order. I'm going to save the update portion of this video in terms of the physical media for the end of this vlog. So if that's what you're coming here for, you can skip ahead to that portion of the video because I'm going to start off talking about a little bit of a channel update, one other little random thing, mainly about this gaming chair that I'm sitting in, and I'll also talk about some movie trailers and some upcoming releases on 4K and Blu-ray that I've heard about. So, in terms of a channel update, I am going to be diving headfirst into mostly paid requests. The next video will be a review and rant on Operation Overlord, which I like to call Operation Overbore because I thought it was a really boring, dull, cheap, direct-to-streaming war movie. It was made on a budget of like $500. So that's coming up next. After that, I have a slate of requests from Brock, and those are going to include the 976 Evil films, The Stupids, That's My Boy with Adam Sandler, Elvis, the latest Elvis movie from this year, starring Austin Butler and Tom Hanks, and Meet Wally Sparks, a film featuring Rodney Dangerfield. After that, or actually in between those, in between that slate of requests, I will be finishing up the Jurassic World franchise. So I will do reviews of Jurassic World, at least a new review, a new rant on that one, a new epic rant on Jurassic World, as well as a new updated review of Fallen Kingdom and a review of Dominion, so I can get that franchise finished up. And after that, I don't know. There's some random stuff I'd like to do. There's some things I've had kind of on the list for a while now, as well as a few other requests from another friend of mine. So those kind of things will be more likely be just surprises. Also, the Karate Kid films, that's another thing because that was a paid request. Those are definitely going to be happening pretty soon after some of those random stuff, so I could take a little bit of a break. I did watch all of them recently, and for the most part, I had fun. At least with the first two, I really liked the first two films. The next Karate Kid surprised me by how decent and average and watchable it was compared to its reputation. And still don't like the Karate Kid 3. I want to kick that film in its face. It sucks so much. And I'm not a fan of the Karate Kid remake from 2010. It's the same fucking movie as the original film from the very first part of the movie all the way to the end. It's the epitome of a pointless remake. So I'll save a lot of my thoughts for that until later when I do that video. As I was saying earlier, I was talking about this gaming chair, this Razer gaming chair, And this is definitely an adjustment for me. Uh, Previously, for most of the time, I was just using a. It was an office chair. So this is an adjustment, and it's not the most comfortable. I got to be honest, but I think what it is, it's just an adjustment period because I'm not used to sitting up straight. And I will say this: I'm gonna break it in more. I'm gonna give it more of a chance. In fact, I actually bought an extra lumbar pillow because I think the fixed lumbar support on this, the Razor Enki, that's what this is. It's a little too stiff for me in my back. Like it kind of digs into my lower back a little too much. So I'm hoping the lumbar support helps with that. If not, I will definitely consider going into a different direction and maybe spend a little more on a nicer gaming chair, or just go back and get a good office chair because I'm a big fan of being comfortable, like most people are. Like extra back support is fine if you really need it, but if not, it just makes things kind of stiff and not the best. That being said, this isn't like a bad chair or anything. Like it does have some cool features. The armrests are adjustable. You can lean back as far as you want in this chair. It's got a lot of flexibility and movement. That is something that isn't necessarily as easy with an office chair because it's heavier. It definitely takes up less space in my room, so that's also a positive. But it's just one of those things where it's just an adjustment period. I've never really had anything like this before, so it's something that I'm adjusting to. Now, when it comes to movie trailers, I don't really have a lot to say. Because there's not a lot of trailers that I really want to talk about. I mean, I think I already talked about Shazam and Black Adam. Um, but I might as well talk about a few of them that I thought were kind of interesting. Samaritan, I did see the trailer for that, the new upcoming Stallone film where he plays an aging retired superhero, and it's supposed to be, I think, rated R, and it's got more of an edge to it than some of the other Marvel films. The trailer looked like it might be worth at least one watch, but not much more than that. Stallone looks like he's going to deliver a pretty decent, pretty solid performance. Definitely looked like he was giving more of a shit here than in some of his other streaming films or direct-to-video movies like the Escape Plan sequels or Backtrays. And I just like the idea of seeing Stallone essentially be a superhero. Like for a lot of his career, he played these characters that were larger than life. In a lot of ways, were kind of like superheroes anyway. So it's kind of a fun transition or a fun evolution of Stallone's uh, performing career to see him play an actual superhero. I don't know about the villains though. The Samaritan suit looks really cheap, and the design didn't really win me over. But it's one of those things where I'll still give it a watch. I'm more interested in it than I am the latest DC or Marvel movie because it's able to tell its own story and be its own thing and be a part of its own universe. But that's just me personally. Another trailer I thought was noteworthy is Devotion. Devotion looked really good. It looked like a film that was clearly put on the fast track because it's the success of Top Gun Maverick. Because Glenn Powell, who played Hangman, is also in the movie, and he plays a pilot yet again. But it takes place during the Korean War, which already interests me because that's a war that is pretty much forgotten about and isn't really the focus on that many films. And it has an African American pilot as the lead, but it doesn't seem like it's leaning that hard into the race politics or the race angle. Like there's a couple lines of dialogue in the trailer where it does that, but it seems like it's focusing more on the budding relationship or connection between the black pilot and a white pilot played by Glenn Powell. So that interests me more because it seems like it's straying away from the typical forced political messaging that you've seen in films like this in the past. And on top of that, it looks like it has some really nice cinematography and direction, and it looks like they're doing a lot of the flying with the planes with real planes. So that's another reason why it's kind of taking a page from Top Gun Maverick, which I'm all for. I don't know if it's something I see in the theater, but it's something that I'm definitely intrigued by. Trying to think of anything else in terms of oh yeah, Halloween Ends. Might as well talk about that. I wasn't that impressed by the trailer for Halloween Ends, but I wasn't that impressed with the trailer for the 2018 film or even Halloween Kills. So it's not really anything new for me when it comes to these new Halloween films from Blumhouse. Yes, I didn't mind Halloween Kills as a time waster, mainly for the kills, but and for some of the elements that it brought to the table with Tommy Doyle and some of the other characters from the first movie. But Halloween Ends just left me even more underwhelmed than anything in Halloween Kills when it comes to the advertising, because it's leaning heavily into the legacy stuff, showing footage of Laurie from the first movie spliced and cut together with footage from her in Halloween Ends. The poster for the film makes it look like a buddy movie, like a buddy cop film featuring Laurie Strode and Michael Myers. I saw a edit that somebody did on Facebook, which I thought was hilarious. They took the poster for Collision Course, that buddy cop movie with Pat Morita and Jay Leno, and just photoshopped Laurie and Michael in it, and it's comic gold. It's great. If you can find it on Facebook, definitely check it out. Um, but yeah, the poster for Halloween Ends is shit. The trailer at least didn't really give away a lot of stuff, but it also didn't really do a lot to get me excited for it. I've heard some rumors about Halloween Ends that are also really unsettling, to say the least, especially if they turn out to be true. The film is basically remaking or taking a page from Return to Sleepaway Camp, where a guy who's bullied winds up becoming the killer, and he forms some friendship or bond with Michael Myers, and he winds up becoming the new Michael Myers by the end of the movie. And Laurie's trying to remember, yeah, her granddaughter, she's the one that winds up essentially being the new Laurie Strode, because Michael Myers and Laurie both die. So that's what I've heard. I heard, and it's just a rumor. It could be complete and total bullshit, but it's also something that wouldn't be too surprising, considering a lot of people involved with Halloween Ends are talking about how this film is going to piss you off, and that would definitely piss me off as a Halloween fan. It would just be like, really, nothing ended. It's just this is just a setup for another sequel, but this time around with Laurie's granddaughter and this other guy wearing the Michael Myers mask. I also heard that Michael Myers gets killed by getting stabbed in the face by Laurie, which I would just find to be unbelievably laughable if that wound up being the case, considering how much damage he took in Halloween Kills at the end of it and kept coming. You're telling me that he's just gonna die by getting simply stabbed in the face? I call bullshit on that. But yeah, Halloween Ends. Not that impressed by the trailer as others are. There's a remake of Goodnight Mommy, apparently. That's a thing. Like, didn't that film only come out like 10 years ago? Do we really need a remake of that? I don't think so. I might as well also talk about the trailer for Wednesday, the new series coming on Netflix, which is the new Addams Family thing with Jenna Ortega. Visually, it looks good. Tim Burton still has an eye and a flair for visuals and has a signature style that definitely is eye-catching. But Jenna Ortega, to me, I'm just still not that won over by her like a lot of other people are. A lot of the stuff that's on the trailer just seemed like she's doing her best Christina Ricci imitation when it comes to the deadpan. I mean, the casting of Gomez and Morticia is fine. I'm not one of those people that is complaining about Luis Guzman. I think that's decent. I think that's actually uh, pretty good casting, especially having him play alongside Catherine Zeta-Jones. But I really am not that intrigued or that interested by this plot. I do not give two shits about the Addams Family version of Harry Potter. Because that's what it seems like. It starts off kind of promising by showing Wednesday in a modern high school environment and dealing with that culture shock, and then it throws that away, and now she's going to be a part of this school for gifted students that has a bunch of people that are just as weird, kooky, and ooky as she is. And it's just one of those things where, well, that doesn't seem like it's really anything that worthwhile, because it's the same. It's there's no interesting dynamic if she's just there in a school with equally as weird people. You're just putting her in a school that already has a bunch of outcasts. So why have her be an outcast when everyone else is an outcast too? It's just not the best concept in my eyes. So that's my thoughts on some trailers, and when it comes to some upcoming releases on DVD. Well, not really DVD, because barely anything is released on DVD anymore. Blu-ray and 4K. I know Freddy's Nightmares is getting released in Germany sometime in December, but I don't know if it's one of those official releases or not, because Germany does kind of has stuff like this where they release things, but they're technically not an official release. It's a release on Blu-ray, but it's not technically officially tied into the studio when it comes to permissions and remasters and whatever. Because I've seen German releases of Tales from the Crypt on Blu-ray, but they're not really official. Like they don't really have an official deal with the rights holders. They just kind of skirted around it and released a Blu-ray. So I don't know. I really would need to see some screenshots or something, because I have a bootleg set that has remastered versions of the uncut original broadcast episodes, plus a ton of features that are definitely not going to be on this set. So I need to see some screen grabs or something before I decide to spend money on importing it. Because I did that with Werewolf the series with the French DVD release, and that was not worth the price I paid for it, because the picture quality is so poor. But that is coming out, though, finally, at least in some capacity. Maybe that'll lead to Warner Brothers actually officially releasing it. I highly doubt that would be the case, because Warner Brothers is now owned by Discovery, and David Zaslav doesn't give two shits about physical media. He's all about streaming. Now, speaking of physical media, Arrow, there are rumors, and these rumors are pretty much confirmed at this point because they showed footage from both films at a festival of some kind or a meeting for investors. They are doing a 4K release of Killer Clowns from Outer Space sometime either later this year or sometime next year. And they are also going to be doing a 4K release of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Killer Clowns, I really enjoy, but I'm kind of okay with the Blu-ray for right now, because of the fact that the Blu-ray still looks really good and it's a good remaster, but it still would probably benefit from the 4K uh, setup and treatment. But what would really benefit from that, from an Arrow special edition, is Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, because that has never had the original theatrical version on Blu-ray. The extended version was the only one that was available on Blu-ray, and the transfer was really not the best when it comes to DNR and other things. So that would definitely benefit from a better transfer, and Arrow does a really good job. So I am really excited for that because I'm a big fan of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I grew up watching that one. I would say it's my favorite Robin Hood movie, and I'm looking forward to watching that and with a proper remaster of the theatrical cut, plus Arrow's signature special features and other content. So that's definitely a release that I'm really excited for. Another one I'm excited for is Kino Lorber is doing a 4K of Mystery Men. That's always been one of my favorites. I have the 88 Films Blu-ray, but it's region locked, and it doesn't really have a new transfer compared to the other previous release from Universal, as far as I remember. It might have a 2K remaster, but I'd have to look at the disc again. But it does have features that I hope are ported over to the Kino Lorber release. Kino Lorber has been doing a pretty good job with some of their 4Ks. And Mystery Men is a film to me that could look absolutely magnificent in 4K with the right transfer because of its colors and its visual style. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Shout Factory, they just released another limited edition slate of Blu-rays. Space Truckers. Umbrella already released one a while back. And as far as I know, it's the same disc basically, but it's just not from Umbrella. It's from Shout Factory. And Shout Factory also is releasing a double feature with Strip to Kill and Final Judgment, a film that stars Brad Dourif. Now, Final Judgment is a film that I spent a little bit too much money on to get the VHS a while back because it was only on VHS. And so it's finally getting a release with a transfer that is actually good and a step up from the VHS release. And it's going to be in widescreen, if I remember correctly. If it's not, it's still getting a 2K remaster, and I think it has a commentary track. So if you're a fan of that one, or if you're curious about that one, that's finally going to get a home video release that is actually worth the shit. If you're a fan of Strip to Kill, now you finally get a chance to get the film on Blu-ray if you missed out on it when it comes to the original release of the film, which went out of print. Now, I did order that because I have Strip to Kill, but it's only on DVD, and I wanted to see Final Judgment in 2K. So that's on its way from Shout Factory. Shout Factory also released information about Army of Darkness, a 4K. Only the theatrical cut is remastered in 4K, which I know is rubbed some Evil Dead fans the wrong way. I don't really care that much because the theatrical version is my preferred version of Army of Darkness, so that doesn't bother me. So I would still like to get that one of these days for the collection because I have Evil Dead 1 and 2 from Lionsgate already on 4K. Now, I'm trying to think of any other like upcoming releases that I feel are worth mentioning off the top of my head. And I really don't have much. I know Poltergeist is finally getting a 4K release from Warner Brothers. Next to nothing in terms of features because of Steven Spielberg being a schmuck. But at least you have the original featurette from back in the day that was only on the Laserdisc. So that is getting ported over to this release. As well as the same useless, shitty special features from the previous Blu-ray that deal with real-life ghost hunters. Like, that's going to be ported over. They should have just left that off because nobody wants to watch that shit anyway. But nothing in terms of commentaries or extensive interviews or anything, which is incredibly disappointing, but not surprising considering it's Warner Brothers. And considering what's going on with Steven Spielberg and the fact that he gets his lawyers involved anytime anybody tries to do anything when it comes to Poltergeist, with interviews or even with a book made by a fan. So it's not surprising that it doesn't have any features. That being said, I'm still highly anticipating it because of the fact that it's got a new remaster, and I think the film would look and sound great with Dolby Vision and Atmos. So, or even if it doesn't have Atmos or Dolby Vision, just having a new remaster and having a new updated sound mix, I think that would definitely make the film resonate and just really wow even more than it already does. Because the previous Blu-ray is fine, but it's definitely dated compared to today's physical media standards. Paramount's also doing a new box set of the Star Trek films. They're also doing one of the motion picture that includes a special longer cut, but you have to pay like close to $100 for that, which is a ripoff. But I will say this, I did already order the 6-film set, and I sold the 4-film set because I was a sucker and I bought it, and I shouldn't have, knowing Paramount and their history. I should have just waited for the 6-film set in the first place. But that's on its way in September. So, yeah, that's kind of about it when it comes to upcoming releases that I can think of. Now I'm going to do a rapid fire showcase of 4Ks and Blu-rays that I got recently from Hamilton Book, Best Buy, Screen Factory, local thrift shops, resellers, so on. Let's start with the Steelbook, the limited edition Steelbook of Event Horizon. Now, initially, I wasn't sold on this cover art when I saw it online, but when you see this cover art in person, it's actually a really nice looking Steelbook. This is the limited edition 4K Steelbook of Event Horizon. And it's a pretty good transfer. It doesn't port over the features from the Shout Factory release, though. So if you have the Scream Factory Blu-ray, I would say hold on to that. Don't resell it unless you don't care about features. Because as far as I know, they are not ported over to this release. At least not all of them. I could be wrong, but I remember reading something online that shows that not all the features are ported over. Also, for those of you who like digital codes, if you can read that, first one who can read that gets it. I don't use digital codes, so that's a way for me to kind of give back to my subscribers there for you. So enjoy that free Event Horizon digital code. Next up, I have the Scream Factory 4Ks of the Child's Play sequels. So we have Child's Play 2, the Collector's Edition. Really happy to finally see this get a Collector's Edition. I've been waiting for this for years. It's a new 4K scan. It looks great. The thing is, though, the features are not really as extensive or as awesome as they could be, which is a little disappointing. Also, the fact that Scream Factory is cheaped out and is not letting you reverse the cover art. Like, they don't have reversible cover art anymore, which is just lame. And yeah, I've heard issues that people have like this like film in the case. And yeah, I have a little bit of that too in here. I don't know what the hell that's about. It's not really something that's affecting the disc though, but it is weird that there's some kind of weird film in some of in a large amount of these releases from Scream Factory. Then you have Child's Play 3, the Collector's Edition. The first film I do want to get eventually in 4K, but I heard through the grapevine, through my personal grapevine, that a friend of mine might be getting that for me, so I'm just going to hold off on that. But yeah, that's Child's Play 2 and 3, 4K. This is a Clockwork Orange. This is the 4K Ultra HD release. Sorry for the picture quality just going straight to dark. Anytime I show anything with white, it just completely sucks all the color out of my camera for some reason. Here we have the 4K release of Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. The Cornetto trilogy. Got a good deal for it during Prime Day from Amazon. Parasite. Heard some good things about this. Mainly got this because it was really cheap from Hamilton Book. I know a friend of mine did not care for the film at all, but I still want to give it a fair shot one of these days. The Big Lebowski classic. Love this movie. One of my all-time favorites. This is really good 4K as well if you're a fan of the film. Here we have the 4K release of True Romance with Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette. It's the Arrow video release. Got it from Arrow directly. Got these from Disney Movie Club. Doctor Strange in 4K. One of my favorite Marvel movies. And then the sequel. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Here we have a steelbook of Gamera, the High Side trilogy, or High Seed. I don't know how to High C. It's not that. It's not the drink. This is pretty cool release from Arrow actually. I got a good deal. This is like the more recent Gamera films, if I remember correctly. They're a little bit more serious and intense. There is another set that includes this other like family-friendly reboot of Gamera, but it was cheaper from Hamilton Book to get the Steelbook, so I got that instead. Speaking of Gamera, here's the Showa era box set. This has like all the Showa era Gamera films. Gamera the Giant Monster. Gamera versus Baragon, Gamera versus Gaios, Gamera versus Virus, Gamera versus Giron, Gamera versus Yiger, Gamera versus Zigra, and Gamera Super Monster. So yeah, and I got a really good deal on these, like half off compared to directly from Arrow or anywhere else. Then we have some more random stuff here. Good chunk of Vinegar Syndrome titles. Really good price cuts from Hamilton Book. They're cheaper than even directly from Vinegar Syndrome during a Black Friday sale. Dark Tower. The 11th Commandment. I got enough Vinegar Syndrome titles from this that I could do another Vinegar Syndrome collection video. The Evil. This is Shout Factory. This is the Scream Factory release of that film. I had it on DVD in the double feature with Twice Dead, but I decided to get the standalone. Willard with the collector's or special edition. The remake with Crispin Glover. Thought I might as well pick it up because I have the other ones. I have Ben and the original Willard. Angel of Death from Full Moon. Another Vinegar Syndrome release, Girls School Screamers. Tough Guys Don't Dance. Through the Fire. Whenever I see that, I think of I just think of the song by Larry Green from Top Gun. Through the fire, dun, dun, to the wire, dun, dun, dun. Yeah, Through the Fire. The Laughing Dead. The Arrow video release of My Stepmother is an Alien. The cool thing about this release, it says it's Region B, but it's actually not. It's one of those Region B releases that's actually region free. Over the Edge from Arrow Video. Another Arrow release, Blood Rage. Got a real classic right here, the Digibook release of Deliverance from Warner Brothers, from Warner Home Video. Rush Week. Memorial Valley Massacre. Got Walking the Edge with Robert Forster. The WNUF Halloween special. This would be a fun thing to actually watch this October. Because I've heard a lot of fun things about it. The Last Matinee. Shatter Dead. Panic Beats. Severin release of Skin Deep. And speaking of Hamilton book, I did actually make another order from them recently, but it wasn't nearly as many films. But that is on its way as well. Graduation Day. I might as well show the back quick. Severin release of Beyond Darkness. Daughters of Satan from Scream Factory with Tom Selleck. Children shouldn't play with dead things. I think I read something about a 4K release coming out. This is not a film that really needs a 4K remaster. Nosferatu in Venice, Klaus Kinski. Now all I need to do is actually get the Klaus Kinski Nosferatu film on Blu-ray from Scream Factory. The AFGA Horror Trailer Show. It's a horror compilation disc from AFGA Home Video. Death Screams from Arrow. Endgame from Severin. Let's Scare Jessica to Death from Scream Factory. Another Scream Factory release, Frankenstein, The True Story. Here we have Sphinx. Oliver Stone's The Hand. Definitely one of the weirdest films in his filmography. The Hills Run Red from Scream Factory. Scream for Help. Got Nightmare at Noon. Deadly Force with Wings Hauser. Rent-A-Pal, Will Wheaton, Brian Landis, Fulkins. Heard some good things about that one. Then we have 3 Days to a Kill with Kevin Costner. Shin Godzilla. The Workaholics show, seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 1 and 2. Season 3. Season 4. I might have shown these already. Another video, but just in case I didn't. Got First Night with Sean Connery and Richard Gere. Pretty underrated fantasy film. X-Men Dark Phoenix for the collection. The 4K of the New Mutants. Film called Byzantium, which is directed by Neil Jordan, who did Interview with a Vampire. Witness with Harrison Ford. Classic thriller. Severin release of Eyes of Fire. Film I've been curious about for many, many, many years. The Astrologer from Shapiro Glickenhaus, I believe. Yeah, James Glickenhaus. Yeah. House on the Edge of the Park. This is the Severin release. Always liked that poster, to be honest. Got that from Severin's sale. Night of the Demon. This slipcover is interesting. Like, it's eye-catching, but I don't know. I prefer slipcovers having like the title of the movie on the front of it. That's just me, personally. Yeah, Night of the Demon. Then we have the 4K special edition of Blood for Dracula, Andy Warhol. Once again, I apologize for stuff being washed out. I don't know what it is. I've tried numerous times to mess around with the settings on my computer and my webcam and everything, and I just can't not get it to not be so washed out when it comes to showing things that are white. This is what it is. So, almost there. It's got one last thing here. The 4K box set from Severin of Santa Sangre from Alejandro Jodorowsky. This is quite the box set. The film I first heard about in Fangoria's 101 Most Unheralded Horror Films book. So yeah, Santa Sangre, 4K, special edition. So, yeah. That is it for this vlog. As always, hope you enjoyed the video, and until the next vlog or the next video on the channel, I will see you later. See ya.